Kundaka Nikaya, the Minor Discourses, Theragāthā, verses of the Arahant Bhikkhus, Tiṁsanipāta, the book of the 30's. Namo tassa bhagavato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato samma sambuddhassa. Theragāthā 30.1 Phussa Thera, verses of the Venerable Phussa. On witnessing so many devoted and well-restrained practicing monks gathered around him, sitting quietly and not moving at all, inspiring strong confidence and faith in anyone upon seeing them thus, Pandara, the white-robed seer from another sect, delighted in what he observed, addressed the Venerable Phussa and asked, "In years from now, what will be the driving force, attitude, and conduct, the very purpose and behavior of practicing monks? We now kindly ask to learn the answer to this, which you can declare to us as truth." O seer, known to all as Pandara, the white-robed, listen to my words and take them to heart, considering them carefully while bringing them to mind regularly. For now I shall describe to you the future you want to know. In future times there will be much anger, hatred, and avarice in people's hearts, where arrogance and hypocrisy will be dominating people's lives. I see much hostility, along with envy, jealousy, and treachery within the order of monks in their majority. Lost in ignorance, while latching onto so many wrong views, this I do see of the days to come. Thinking they have understood the Dhamma in all its depth, they will bury and anchor themselves solid onto this shore, while cutting all hopes of even looking, let alone for reaching the other shore. Thus, as they become stuck in the mundane, treating it like it's everything, and by becoming entirely disrespectful towards the beautiful Dhamma, those fickle monks of future days will dwell irreverent, lacking genuine concern and love towards each other. Indeed, many are the terrifying dangers that will come to the world in future times, where idiots and sociopaths will not only ruin and defile this world, but in their psychopathic drive even infiltrate the Buddha's dispensation by corrupting and ruining the well-taught teachings entrusted to us all by the Master himself. So, in the future, such garrulous and incompetent fools will be the elders of the Sangha and its proceedings, while being completely empty of any virtue or understanding, relying on their shrewd tactics, powerful connections, and conniving tricks, will easily convince and maintain their strong hold over the equally foolish masses, who'll mistakenly take them as being the true Sangha of the sasana. Meanwhile, those good bhikkhus with hearts full of virtue, living their lives according to the Dhamma taught by the Buddha, despite their depth of knowledge and its comprehension, behaving with kindness and selfless consideration for others, will not have a voice and be considered unimportant and weak at best. They will be the outliers, hence not seen as good bhikkhus. And in spite of their jewel-like brilliant significance for the sasana entire, they will be looked upon nevertheless as unimportant, for they will lack the credibility and fickle respect of the foolish masses. These dirty-hearted characters, claiming to be living the holy life, will want to collect money and gold, and all kinds of valuables, be they properties, lands, or livestock, such as goats and sheep, in addition to having men and women servants who would be at their beck and call, serving and catering to the unending desires of these vain fools, easily bruised and highly volatile in their irritability. They will eagerly look for faults in others, especially those with virtue, while they themselves will have shady characters, devoid of any virtue, and lacking a moral backbone. They'll go on seeking out quarrels wherever they can, with their underlying passive-aggressive and vicious disposition. They will go out of their way to savagely find battles for them to start with others. Conceited and snobbish, prejudiced, advocating for preferential treatment for those they are similar to in some way. They will start wearing robes that are in color blue. Obstinate, arrogant, self-righteous, and complete hypocrites they will be, chatting away with their skilled tricks in eel-wriggling, while never saying what should in fact be said, diplomatic with their flattery and in their conniving strategies, pretending throughout to belong to the genuine lineage of noble bhikkhus, when all the while they remain as simply crude counterfeits. Having grown the hair on their head and beard long, they will coif and sleek them with oil, not to mention decorating their restless and wandering eyes with dark eyeliner, and even spending time stylizing their eyebrows. These exhibitionists will try to charm by going on the road, all decked in their ivory-colored robes they cherish. Meanwhile, they will be full of disdain towards the proper colors of a bhikkhu's robes, the well-dyed symbol and banner of arahants past, who wore it with grace and much reverence. Those awakened ones completely released. But those same robes these characters will scorn and revile, while wrapping themselves in their robes of white. Desirous of benefiting from this and that, even though they do nothing but live like parasites off the goodwill of others. They are content in being lazy, never putting the energy to cultivate themselves, or resort to the wilderness to practice, or just seek solitude and be away from crowds or their constant need for companionships, which is why they will always enjoy being around people, relishing the comforts of city life which they gain. Living totally unrestrained thus, they crave and look for ways to associate with those of influence, irrespective of the dubious and immoral characters of such people. They hunger for opportunities to rub elbows and hobnob with the rich and powerful, which is why their own students, copying the examples of such teachers, will end up doing the same, delighting in the pleasures of the flesh, as they too adopt a wrongful livelihood as well. This being the norm of the Sangha's state in those future days, it is no wonder that the true monks, who will in fact live virtuously and true to the monastic code, will not be given the honor they so deserve, nor obtain easily the requisites they need to live, even though they will truly be deserving to be called the wise. Nevertheless, society will not come to them with their support, nor be interested in listening to the beautiful Dhamma they impart. Meanwhile, many bhikkhus in the future, not wanting to be left out, they'll go on mimicking trends and even appearances of others. Thus, they'll even change the color of robes they wear, while sneering at and demeaning their own saffron robes, as they replace them with those that are dyed in other shades, to match the banners and flag colors of those from other sects and religions. Disrespectful in their attitude towards these saffron-colored robes, they will therefore dishonor and look down upon them in dark years that are yet to come, where those so-called monks will align themselves with those of other sects, promoting their own agendas and carrying flags of their own, while not reflecting on nor contemplating the deep history, meaning, significance, and very purpose in properly using and wearing the bhikkhu's saffron-colored robes. Such a disgraceful and awful lack of respect was indeed unthinkable to the noble elephant who gave his life, with a poisoned arrow having pierced his heart. Although suffering incredible agony from his injury, yet lay on his side to make it easier for the hunter to do his deed. The six-tusker royal elephant, who had been ready to charge at any threat, on seeing the saffron robes of the Arahant bhikkhus crawling out of a hunter's pit, had suddenly stopped and put down his guards, and instead bowed his noble head to venerate and respect the one wearing what he thought were the sacred colored robes of a bhikkhu, right before he was shot in the heart by the calculating hunter, disguising himself as a bhikkhu, wearing the robes of a bhikkhu, the very banner of the Arahants, in order to trap and kill the king of all elephants. On realizing the ruse, the six-tusker king elephant then cried out these words: "While yourself are truly vile and stained by evil, a true stranger to what truth and virtue really do mean. You, being so utterly impure and deceiving, have no right whatsoever to don the noble saffron robes of a bhikkhu. But it is only the one who is truly pure, rejecting all evil in its many shapes and hues, who lives by truth and virtue, fully committed to them in all that he does, while knowing and contemplating their depth. Only such a person indeed is the one who's the one genuinely worthy to dare wearing the noble saffron robes of a bhikkhu, empty of anything that may be termed virtuous at all. The capricious fool will live unrestrained, doing whatever he feels like doing, behaving irresponsibly while following his whims, thus being left entirely at the mercy of his carelessly distracted mind. Such an impulsive monkey, indeed, would not deserve to be wearing the noble saffron robes. But he who lives with virtue deeply embedded in his conduct, whether alone or in public, driven by energy and restraint at the helm, possessing a heart that is pure in all intentions, dwells free of any lust or passion to ever arise or manifest within. He thus remains deeply serene in his disposition. Now such a one indeed would most certainly deserve to be wearing the noble saffron robes. Insolent and arrogant idiots such as these, showing off but while having no morals whatsoever, with nothing to do with living the holy life, what use could wearing the bhikkhu's robes therefore bring to them? For at the most, these no-good-for-nothing lowlifes should be given an upasaka's white robes to wear, and never be allowed to touch or even come near to, let alone wear, the noble saffron robes. Evil-minded bhikkhus and bhikkhunis in years to come, being profit-seeking at their core and self-centered in what they do, will not care about nor have any genuine kindness for others, with no respect or loving consideration towards the noble ones, as they go on bullying, rebuking, and trying to humiliate the ones with true metta in their pure hearts. Meanwhile they, the counterfeit monks and nuns, will go on profiting through their endless pretending, while possessing no metta at all in their lifeless hearts. Despite being trained in the manner of wearing the robes, but the training received will never go beyond the surface, for those foolish monks in those future times will simply work to play the part, and not much else, as though the robes were disguises for them to be wearing and deceiving. This because those self-serving ruffians will be vile and perverted in their hearts, really, untrained and undisciplined at all. Those fools with their dark hearts and selfish drives will have no respect or show any proper manners of cordiality to fellow monks. Thus they will disobey and refuse to comply, not only with their preceptors' or mentors' advice, but even reason and common courtesy, too, will be far too much for them to heed, much like a wild and unbroken colt stubbornly kicking against its charioteer. This, therefore, will be the practice and behavior of all those bhikkhus and bhikkhunis mentioned in the final days of the sasana, before the light of this beautiful Dhamma, taught by the matchless teacher, vanishes by being extinguished, just as he has predicted. So, in order to lengthen the life of the sasana, by delaying the coming of those frightful days waiting in the future, keep your hearts wide open to learn, as you remain malleable and humble in your demeanor, courteous in your speech, and kind consideration for others, while welcoming words of caution and admonishments, as the need may be, by all those who know and genuinely care for you. In this way, you should strive in living authentically, while exuding metta and genuine respect towards each other. Thus, with your hearts full of true compassion and loving kindness, continue on practicing and training yourselves assiduously in living with genuine virtue. Stay energized and resolute in your trajectory, while staunchly protecting the attainment of the goal in mind. And fearlessly go on unhindered continuously until you too see to it that it is achieved. Realizing the powerful danger that looms in living heedlessly, make your diligent effort of never slacking your anchor of safety, as you earnestly push yourself forward out of your inertial tendencies. In this way, courageously keep developing the noble Eightfold Path in all that you do, until you, like so many before you, realize what's not yet been realized by you, where you also attain by touching the deathless too. These were the verses spoken by the Venerable Phussa. Theragāthā 30.2 Sāriputta Thera. Verses of the Venerable Sāriputta. Whoever is mindfully present in all that he does, diligent in his behavior and conduct, where even in thoughts he lives restrained, dwells joyful inside, while remaining serenely contented, residing secluded and away from the crowds, now such a collected person indeed lives utterly satisfied. Surely he is to be called a bhikkhu indeed. Whether consuming dry food or sipping on some warm soup, one has to mindfully eat, instead of gobbling it all up in gluttony. Thus, the bhikkhu is moderate in the food he eats, abstaining from feeding his stomach to the point of bursting. He goes walking while feeling and being light on his feet. He does this while he's still able to consume 4 or 5 more morsels of food. Yet he chooses to stop from eating right then and drinks water instead to fill up the remaining gap. This itself is already sufficient for that resolutely driven bhikkhu, with which to live on and thus abide comfortably. Similarly moderate is he with his clothing. Thus, if he has obtained the appropriate robes for him to wear, to help him lead the holy life in full, then this itself is sufficient for that resolutely driven bhikkhu, with which to live on and thus abide comfortably. And so long as he's protected from the weather, as in when he's seated cross-legged in meditation, rain does not fall onto his lap, then this itself is sufficient for that resolutely driven bhikkhu with which to live, and thus abide comfortably. When one has discriminated while clearly seeing how happiness is in fact directly related to suffering, then, on clearly understanding how suffering itself is the dart to be removed once and for all, for there's no safety while swinging between the two, or somehow come to a restful stop in their midst. So, on finding this out, and realizing the inescapable truth in this, what's still keeping you here loitering, leaving you undecided to act? Are you hoping to somehow be the exception? Hoping to find an escape from suffering while still pursuing the ways of the world? When you've come to the definitive conclusion in life that leads you to solemnly declare, "May I never have any interactions nor anything to do with those possessing evil in their hearts. May all those who are lazy stay away from me, those low-borns, possessing neither the integrity nor persevering energy in them, the indecent and uncultured fools, living without any regard or consideration for others, may they all have nothing to do with me." So, having reached this conclusion which you now solemnly declare, then what's still keeping you here loitering, leaving you undecided to act? Are you hoping to somehow be the exception? Hoping to find an escape from suffering, while still pursuing the ways of the world? Therefore, the one who's developed himself and gained direct understanding, firmly established and living with virtue, dwelling in his inner calm and tranquility, fully devoted to maintaining the heart at peace, free of agitation, let such a high-born courageously stand with his head held up high, fearlessly steering himself away from the crowd of fools surrounding him in the world. Meanwhile, the one mesmerized by the world, just like a deer that's seduced by the fascinating variety of things it sees, lost in the delight which he finds in the endless flow of his mental proliferations that keep churning and streaming out of the factory that's his unrestrained mind. Such a person will fail to attain the release that is Nibbana, by missing the chance to finally taste rest, which is to gain his true freedom and sanctuary from the yoke. However, he who leaves all mental proliferations behind, no longer fascinated by the world and all that it offers, instead, savoring the path that leads to the non-proliferation of thoughts, by consciously refusing to engage through his superlative restraint, such a person indeed will attain the release that is Nibbana, by gaining his true freedom and sanctuary from the yoke. Living in the village or in remote places in the wilderness, whether residing alone deep in valley crevasses or high up in cliff tops, wherever you may find those rare beings, the noble arahants living the rest of their days, that is undeniably the very best place indeed that is so lovely. Therefore, what is rightfully called a truly delightful place to be. Wilderness areas and uninhabited forests that people avoid, finding them to be unsafe, where they feel out of place, are in fact truly delightful for all those who found freedom from passions, the ones who now enjoy the bliss that comes when the chase after sense pleasures is over and done. If you come across that wise person who knows how to discern, who instead of sugar-coating points out by highlighting the errors in your ways, then treat such a rare being as genuine guide, leading you to an unimaginable treasures indeed. As you stay close and attend to such a noble teacher, who's so generous in providing you with his valuable guidance and advice. So follow him without any questions, for he'll help protect you from yourself even while making you reach your highest potential, instead of letting yourself become the worst version of yourself. By restraining himself from all that is improper, should one instruct, advising those who are open to being taught. By avoiding coarse and vulgar behavior yourself, encouraging others to do the same will make you beloved to all those who are pure at heart, while at the same time being despised by those who are not. While the Blessed One, the Buddha, in his boundless vision, was in the process of instructing and teaching the Dhamma to another, I was paying full attention, completely present with my eyes and ears both wide open, not to miss or omit what was being said by the teacher, or to let the Dhamma he was teaching slip by me somehow, in order to capture the meaning of what's being said in that rare opportunity, even though the instructions being given at the time were directed to someone else. At that instant, I realized how my efforts spent were not in vain, for as a result of my attentive listening, the asavas contaminating the heart all dropped away, as I attained to final release right then and there. So, it wasn't in pursuit of knowing my former births from lives past, nor to gain the ability to see with the divine eye that I strove to attain. Nor was it to obtain the ability to see or psychically read the hearts and minds of others with mine, nor to have the knowledge of where beings pass away to when they die, or whether they were going to be reborn into the hells or heavens instead. Nor was it my intention or even wish to obtain the power of the purified divine ear at all. Sitting by the exposed roots of a tree, all alone, with his cleanly shaven head covered in his outer robes, is where you'll find the chief disciple, Upatissa, second only to the great teacher in his wisdom, deep in meditation. Having gone beyond all thoughts and imaginings, the disciple of the perfectly self-awakened Buddha is possessed with true silence that's truly unshakable, dwelling as he does quietly in the very fruit of arahantship, the state that is rightfully called ennobling. Just as a giant mountain made of solid rock stands, neither moving nor perturbed, similarly is that bhikkhu, being anchored firmly, does not tremble nor quiver, but stands steadfast in his unshakability, when all delusions of the past come crashing down and are destroyed. Always driven to attain to higher and higher states of purity, while constantly seeking out ways to improve himself. That person who is engaged fully to be stainless in his behavior, both internally and externally. For such a man, even a minor wrong action, even though possessing no more than a hair's tip of evil, would already be massive in size, just like a heavy dark cloud in the sky. Neither longing for death to come to me, nor for my life to somehow go on. I simply am waiting for my time, whenever that may come, with my full awareness, fully present, wherever I may be, as I live each and every moment with mindful serenity. And now, I neither long for death to come to me, nor is there even the slightest thought to somehow extend this life. I am simply waiting for my time, whenever it arrives, just like a hired worker, who, having completed his job, now patiently awaits to get paid his wage. Now, standing here in what's called the midpoint of one's life, on either side it's clearly seen, whether I look ahead of me or turning to look what lies behind. And there is only one thing that's common to both. There's no way of escaping death, indeed. So, practice and don't miss your chance to give it your all. Otherwise, you'll perish again. Of this I am perfectly sure. Just like a mighty fortress built on the kingdom's frontier is fully guarded from potential threats and at all times, both inside and out, with soldiers always on alert to protect the kingdom from any possible invasion. In the same manner, you should stay on guard and keep watch as to what's coming in and going out, not letting a single moment or thought slip by you unnoticed. Otherwise, you'll realize the opportunity that's missed when it's already too late, as you grieve and lament in vain, having reappeared in the depths of hell. Calm and collected, deeply stilled and at peace with himself, wise in his speech, which he uses so moderately, he is the one who shakes off from himself all his evil tendencies, much like leaves are blown away by powerful winds from a mighty tree that's left standing. Unruffled and composed, tranquil and in control of himself wherever he is, speaking only when it's necessary and not more. He's the one who shakes off from himself all his evil tendencies, much like leaves are torn by mighty cyclones from a resilient tree that's left standing. Peaceful and serene, brightly alert and undisturbed, living with virtue in his heart, that wise, unruffled man puts an end to all his suffering and pain by severing off from himself all those assets he'd been dragging behind, whether in conducting business or on the spiritual path. One has to apply accountability and rational thinking. For with some householders and even ordained monks too, one should not be so eager to trust so quickly indeed. After all, there are those who, even though may have looked to be trustworthy and good at first, only reveal their true colors later on, turning out to be untrustworthy and totally evil indeed. Meanwhile, others who seem to us as being the opposite to these, appearing as bad, dubious, or somewhat questionable at first, but later transform themselves entirely and thus become genuinely trustworthy and truly good indeed. The desire to experience sensual pleasures, while also having ill will or bearing hatred in the heart, not challenging the drowsiness or letting inertial procrastination to persist, allowing restlessness and worrisome thoughts to wreak havoc and agitate, and permitting the skeptical doubts to proliferate and confuse. These are the 5 strangling defilements that threaten to suffocate the heart of the Bhikkhu. He whose state of mind remains unperturbed, who maintains the collectedness of samadhi wherever he is, whether he is venerated and shown respect, or scorned and even disrespected, he indeed is the one who truly is living diligently. Unwavering and steady in his course, he remains, despite the unreliability of circumstances he has to face. With stability, he persists in his practice, just like the consistency of his breath, in touch with the finest of nuances of all that's happening within and around him, while observing with the intuition of a heart that's wide open. In this manner, being wisely attuned with penetrative insight, always experiencing the joy of constant relinquishing, truly he's the one to be called the superior being. The ocean mighty that's so vast in size, the entire earth with all its mountain ranges so high, along with the wind that keeps freely moving about unhindered, all those one may describe adequately. But no simile or metaphor could ever possibly be used to truly capture the matchless teacher's most excellent state of release. Just like the earth, water, and fire, in their state of harmonious balance, similarly, the chief disciple, who keeps the wheel of Dhamma rolling, first set in motion by the light of existence, the teacher, the senior elder with great knowledge, lives whatever time he has left, being neither attached to things nor repelled by them. And having attained to the highest wisdom that could be gained, he's truly mighty in his depth of understanding, truly unmatched in discernment too. And although he may seem to be blunt or dull of wit, yet he is neither, for his alert intellect always is sharper than a razor's edge. And now he wanders here and there in constant bliss, fully released and without a care. I have faithfully attended on and personally served the great teacher, and now truly completed the task, according to the Blessed One's dispensation. I have finally put down the heavy burden which I carried, and now the path to further rebirth is utterly destroyed for me, for I pulled out and destroyed the very roots of re-becoming. The main reason for which I went forth is now fulfilled. because I have attained to that goal supreme that first led me from home life into homelessness. Finally, I have truly obliterated all the fetters that bind. Press on with diligence as you strive on forward without taking a time out. This was the instruction given to me, which I now pass on to you too. So there you go. I did what I knew was my mission to accomplish. A conqueror, I now lay here, having attained full awakening and liberated in every way. These were the verses spoken by the Venerable Sāriputta. Theragāthā 30.3 Ānanda Thera. Verses of the Venerable Ānanda. The wise man must not delight in the company of those that are mean and resentful, the two-faced and evil-hearted, who speak with slander and bad intent, the ones eagerly wanting to bring harm unto others in one way or another. For this reason, you must never associate with such people, nor call them a friend. Instead, the wise man must seek the friendship of the kind and lovely, the person with genuine wisdom and faith in his heart, the one with understanding, who is both learned and lovely to be around. It is no surprise that associating with such a superior person is always truly a blessing. Look at this colorfully decorated marionette dangling around in what is called a figure. This heap of sores, a massive lump of diseases waiting to explode at any moment, but upon whom so many salivate in their blind delusion, now victims of their own obsession, realizing not how nothing they see is what it seems, for none of it is lasting. Look at this colorfully decorated marionette, dangling around in what is called a figure, ornately wreathed in all kinds of jewelry and shiny things, golden rings hanging everywhere. Meanwhile, it is a cemetery of bones, gift-wrapped with its bandage of skin. But with the necessary camouflage, it keeps all that hidden, made to look pretty and fair. With hands and feet all painted in henna tattoos, and a face that is all covered in powder and makeup, creating the illusion of something that is not even there, the perfect mask to beguile, trapping in its snare the deluded fool, but not the one intent on reaching the farther shore. With hair delicately braided into 8 thick strands, augmenting her female figure, using the weapon of the eyes, fully decked with mascara and eyeliner to complete the seduction, creating the illusion of something that is not even there, the perfect mask to beguile, trapping in its snare the deluded fool, but not the one intent on reaching the farther shore. Packaged neatly and put together just like a newly painted makeup box, the rotting body, with pieces coming apart every second, yet desperately glued together, just to create the illusion of something that is not even there, the perfect mask to beguile, trapping in its snare the deluded fool, but not the one intent on reaching the farther shore. This Gautama fully learned and knowledgeable, an eloquent speaker on the Dhamma, having served the Master, personal attendant to the Lord Buddha, is now finally released and unfettered, with the poisoned dart pulled out of his heart, has put the heavy burden down at last, and now he is finally ready for bed as he lies down to sleep. Contaminants of the heart are fully destroyed and no more. No more barriers to overcome. No floods left to cross. All that remains is safety now. For this Gautama too has attained Nibbana and now lives bearing his very last body. He too now lives, having gone beyond birth and death. Gautama, guardian of the Dhamma, who holds the teachings of Lord Buddha in his heart, having received them from the mighty kinsman of the Sun himself, stands now on the solid foundation of the path that leads to Nibbana Supreme, having walked it and directly realized it for himself, the freedom he was promised. With 82,000 suttanta received personally from the Blessed One's own lips, and another 2,000 from my fellow bhikkhus, in total 84,000 are the teachings I have learned and retain. The precious Dhamma I have memorized, kept intact in my heart. The unexcelled person, happy with the little or no learning he possesses, decays with age, much like an ox, where although his flesh may double in size, with a body that is too heavy to carry. But whatever knowledge or wisdom he may have had, well, that is an entirely different story, for it neither develops nor matures. The one who, on account of his learning, despises or looks down upon others of little learning, belittling and minimizing them with his conceit, to me is no different than the man who has been blind since birth, but carries a lantern around, believing it would improve his vision. Stay close and attend to those who are learned and wiser than you, for through association with such teachers, your understanding will only grow and not wane. This itself is the root and foundation of living the holy life, so make sure you study and memorize the Dhamma from them. By grasping and understanding the structure and meaning of what is taught, one skillfully explains by interpreting the essential terms, putting everything in its right place through unmistakable intuition, always speaking the timeless truth from the heart, the Dhamma that has been memorized but kept fresh through the chisel of discernment. Once having accepted the Dhamma, one ignites and then maintains fervent desire within, pouring more energy with resolve at the right time whenever necessary, while discerning the true Dhamma from all that is adhamma, striving as he builds more patience within himself and becomes composed, well established in serenity, remaining in it throughout. So, if you really are intent on understanding the Dhamma, then you must associate with the teacher who carries the teachings in his heart, a wise and true disciple of the Tathagata, who is learned in what he taught, who, having studied their various aspects, always recalls the Dhamma in his heart. It is him whom you must follow, therefore. The bhikkhu who is learned, who studies and retains the Dhamma in his heart, is undeniably a steward of the great teacher's dispensation, wherever he may go. Thus, he indeed is an eye for the entire world to see with, deserving of respect wherever he goes. For he truly is one to be venerated and revered, with both palms pressed together at the heart. In this way, the one who, by studying the Dhamma, finds unending delight in the Dhamma, by reflecting on the Dhamma, he recollects the Dhamma non-stop, constantly walking with the Dhamma beating in his heart. There can be no decline or regression for him in what is true Dhamma. Lying there in your overfed body, craving the indulgence of being pampered in comfort. Meanwhile, the little time you have keeps running out, greedily lusting after the experience of physical pleasure and ease. How can you ever hope to find happiness while pretending to live the life of a recluse? I am all lost. Every direction seems vague and unclear. Suddenly, no Dhamma am I able to recollect, and nothing comes to mind. I feel I have lost the Dhamma in my heart. All the truths I was certain about, now there is nothing but confusion. Our dear spiritual friend is gone, and now no more, and all that is left is darkness all around. When your fellow companion in the holy life has died and gone, and when your teacher, too, passes away, never to be seen again, all that is left for you then is this very body that you still carry around with you. For there is no immediate and true friend like mindfulness aimed at the body. Now, the old ones, my dear friends, have all gone away. Meanwhile, I am still here, as I neither agree with nor enjoy the companionship of the new. So, I huddle with myself today, meditating alone, just like a bird snuggled in its nest in the cold rain. Crowds of many visitors from various places have all arrived, and from far away, trying to get a glimpse of me for the very last time. So please, do not block their view of the Tathagata they have come to see, and let the assembly of all those gathered here get their chance to see me one more time. Crowds of many visitors from various places have all arrived, and from far away indeed, trying to get a glimpse of the teacher for the very last time. The one with pure vision, even now, still grants them all the opportunity to behold him, not turning anyone away from seeing him for the very last time. In 25 years of being a noble disciple in training, I do not recall ever having a lustful or passionate thought arising in me. Behold, therefore, the power of the good Dhamma. In 25 years of being a noble disciple in training, I do not recall ever having an evil or hostile thought arising in me. Behold, therefore, the power of the good Dhamma. For 25 years I have attended on the Blessed One, my teacher, serving him always with loving deeds in whichever way I could, always by his side, like a shadow that never leaves. For 25 years I have attended on the Blessed One, my teacher, serving him always with loving speech, always by his side, like a shadow that never leaves. For 25 years I have attended on the Blessed One, my teacher, serving him always with loving thoughts, always by his side, like a shadow that never leaves. As the Lord Buddha would be doing his walking meditation, going back and forth, I was there with him, walking in meditation right behind him, as he tenderly kept teaching and instructing me the Dhamma. For which reason knowledge and understanding arose and has been growing in me ever since. But I am only a Seka who still has more work to do, with a mind that still needs to be perfected, for it has not yet reached its full maturity. And my loving teacher, who showed me nothing but sweet compassion throughout, is now gone and passed into final Nibbana. Oh, and what a terrifying event it was when he was no more, where gooseflesh ran up and down my entire spine, quivering it, and all the body hair stiffened and stood on end with a jolt. That very moment, when the mighty, self-awakened Buddha, possessed of all his sublime qualities, entered into final Nibbana. Ānanda, who is learned and widely versed, holding true to the teachings, bearing the entire Dhamma in his heart, he indeed is the guardian of the treasury bequeathed to us by our teacher, the great sage. And now, Ānanda, being an eye for the entire world, helps it to see what he himself has now finally seen through the realization of Nibbana. Being learned and widely versed, holding true to the teachings, bearing the entire Dhamma in his heart, he indeed is the guardian of the treasury, bequeathed to us by our teacher, the great sage. And now, being an eye for the entire world, Ānanda helps it to see. For in the dead of night, through his perseverance, he did dispel and obliterate all the darkness around, indeed. Ānanda truly is the sage who kept the Master's teachings in his heart, intact with his superb memory, while mastering their order and structure throughout, holding true to each and every one, tireless in holding them firmly together and coherent. Vigilantly, our brother has stood strong. He indeed is deserving of the title of the senior Bhikkhu who upholds the Dhamma. You truly are the living mine of jewels, O our one and only Ānanda. I have served my teacher by attending on him to the very best of my abilities, and especially I have fulfilled the very goal of his instructions to me, attaining the deathless, as I was taught by the Lord Buddha himself. And having finally put down the heavy burden, I too can say, what had to be done is now done. Now, the holy life has been fully lived, with nothing further left for me to do, for there is no desire to be found still lurking in me, with no more re-becoming to any state ever again. Sadhu, sadhu. Sadhu.